Yo, what is up guys? It's Pedro here. In today's video, I'll be going over some top candidates for the Washington Commanders head coaching job that will likely open up this off season, and I'll be giving you guys some information on the top candidates. If you guys are new, subscribe, hit that like button and the notification bell as well. It really helps out the channel a ton. Oh, this is a late video, but I had some things going on. I was watching the Alabama-Georgia game, some other stuff, as well, but hope you guys are enjoying your Saturday watching some really good football. But as we know, basically 100% guarantee that Ron Rivera will be gone after this season unless, something crazy happens I really don't think there's a way Ron Rivera is back next year. There just really isn't a way. And yeah, so we're going to be going over some coaching candidates. Made a video a couple weeks ago and not a ton has changed, but there have been some, emerging candidates and some more information and rumors about some of these candidates. So let's go over some of the candidates. I think the number one guy is Ben Johnson, who is the Lions offensive coordinator. Their offense has been great. And some information about him via Grant Paulson. Walked on as a QB at UNC in 2004. So was a former quarterback and played at UNC. Obviously has, ties to Sam Howell there and is probably still very plugged in at UNC. First NFL gig was with the Dolphins in 2012. Before he was an offensive coordinator, he coached quarterbacks, receivers, and tight ends. He's 37, throws on 51% on first and 10, 63% on second and 10. So just some information there. I like the background there. And he had a really good year last year with the Lions. Their offense was great, very creative. And, obviously they have some good players, but the scheme there is great. And it's not like they have elite talent all over. The scheme is helping these players get better, and also he's just getting the best out of these players. And this year, the offense is good as well, very good. And they've got studs on the team. They really do. And they've been drafting well as well. That helps. Penny Sewell, on St. Brown, and, Jahmyr Gibbs, the beast. David Montgomery's good. They've got pieces all over their offense. But Ben Johnson definitely knows how to utilize each of his pieces, and he's very creative as well. If you watch some Lions games, you can see that. So he's going to be the number one candidate probably for all coaches. So I don't know. I think we're probably the number two or number three most attractive spot. I think you would probably go with the Chargers as number one just because of Herbert, and they do still have other talented players as well. But I would say the Commanders number two because they do have a potential quarterback. They have $90+ million in cap space. There's a new ownership group that's excited to win, and then you also have early picks. You're going to have a top 5 pick more likely than not, definitely top 8 unless something crazy happens. And then we're going to have two second round picks, 2 high second round picks, and then 2 third round picks as well. So we got a lot of draft capital, a lot of cap space, and maybe a franchise quarterback in Sam Howell. We still got to see the rest of the way, but I've liked what I've seen from Sam Howell. So I think we're an attractive destination. Some other destinations that are going to be open. The Carolina Panthers going to be open. They're definitely going to want Ben Johnson. They wanted him last year. The Chargers, the Cowboys, if they lose in the first round of the playoffs, I would think that Mike McCarthy gets fired. And then you think, okay, maybe Dan Quinn gets promoted there. That's another, hot, coach candidate that's been, thrown around there a lot, in terms of, he's gotten a lot of interviews. I think he was close to being hired with the Broncos a couple years ago, and he's done a really, really good job for the Cowboys. I think I saw something where, Adam Schefter said there might be 7 to 8 head coaching opening. That's a lot. I don't know if I see all that, but there's definitely coaches that are probably going to get fired this offseason. Matt Eberflus from the Chicago Bears. That's another attractive spot just because of the draft capital. Number 1 overall pick they're going to have more likely than not, and then another top 5, top 7 pick. So the Bears are in a good situation, and they've got some cap space to work with as well. So that's another attractive spot. And then you'll have some wild cards who knows, the Giants might be, looking for a new head coach. I think they'll probably keep Dable, and I think they should keep Dable, but you never know. And then you got the Raiders as well, who they fired Josh McDaniels, and maybe they'll keep Pierce, but they're definitely going to be interviewing a lot of guys, and there's going to be tons of other ones that are in question, like Robert Saleh. Maybe he gets fired. There's a lot of different coach openings that could be open. But let's get into some other ones. You got Jim Harbaugh. There's been a little bit of rumors with him and the Commanders. I've seen him, have stronger ties to other teams, so I don't think he'll be with the Commanders. I wouldn't absolutely hate it, but it's definitely not my preferred choice. Definitely not my top 3. I think he's a good coach. But you got the drama with the cheating, which it isn't like the end of the world, but still, people are gonna hate on it. And then also, I don't know, he's I don't know, he's not too old, but he's also not young, and he's been a coach in the NFL before, and he did a good job with the 49ers. But at this point, I'd rather get a new, young, fresh mind instead of someone like Jim Harbaugh. But I wouldn't hate it. I'd rather have Jim Harbaugh than Bill Belichick, who's been, there's been some rumors with Bill Belichick and the Commanders. Don't think it's going to happen. I think, you could see that with the Chargers, or if the Cowboys somehow fire Mike McCarthy, if they lose in the first round, then you could see Harbaugh or Bill Belichick going there as well. That's something, Jerry Jones move. That's a typical Jerry Jones move. But yeah, Jim Harbaugh and Bill Belichick, I hope we don't get them. And another guy, this is a guy I like, Bobby Slowick, who's a Texans. He's the OC for the Texans. I believe this is his first year. Worked with Shanahan before, also worked in Washington, actually. He was on that coaching staff in 2013, the famous coaching staff with Kyle Shanahan, Sean McVay, Matt LaFleur, Mike McDaniel, and then Bobby Slowick as well, which is insane. But we chose none of those guys, but at the same time, the team was not good in 2013. But those are kind of Bobby Slowick and Ben Johnson are my top guys. I think ideally, I want a youngish offensive mind as my head coach. Doesn't have to be 35, but if he's 45, 50, like that's not bad. I don't know exactly how much Jim Harbaugh, how old he is, but he's got to be in his 50s. He's got to be in his 50s. I mean, I can look it up right now in a second, but those are kind of Bobby Slowick for sure, and Ben Johnson are my top candidates. Bobby Slowick's done a great job with CJ Stroud and has developed him into, he's an MVP candidate right now, and their offense has been good. So that's kind of what I would say there. And let's just so I know, let's look up Jim Harbaugh and how old he is. So he's 59. So again, he's not it's not like he's going to be out of the league or done coaching, relatively soon. He could coach for 10 more years if he wanted to, but he's getting up there in age, and I'd rather get a new, fresh mind like Bobby Slowick or someone like Ben Johnson for sure. Someone that hasn't been head coach before. And here's some other guys as well that Tom Pelissero made a list of candidates. Shane Bowen, Thomas Brown. I don't want Thomas Brown. The Commanders interviewed him. I don't know. The Panthers have been a mess, and he's been calling a little bit plays, but then they went back to Reich, and now they're going back to him. Don't really want him. Brian Callahan's a guy. I think that's Bill Callahan's son. I don't know. He doesn't call plays, so I just don't know if I would really want that. I don't know. Yeah, it's kind of a situation where I kind of want more of someone like Ben Johnson who has called plays, or Bobby Slowick who is calling plays. I wouldn't be totally opposed to a defensive type guy. It has to be a special guy like DeMeco Ryans. He's done a great job for the Houston Texans. But he's also a young guy, was also a former player. So there's got to be specific situations there where, okay, I'd rather have I'd rather have an offensive coordinator or an offensive-minded guy as a head coach. But, certain guys would be good. You got the Panthers defensive coordinator, Giro Avero. Don't know much about him. There's a whole bio here if you guys want to read it. He probably won't be hired here. You got Luke Getsy, definitely, hopefully not hired here. Patrick Graham, who did really good with the Giants as a defensive coordinator, now the defensive coordinator for the Raiders. I thought he was older than that. You got Ravens special teams coordinator Chris Horton. Let's see, any other guys? I'm just going through the list here so you guys can see some new names, but I think Ben Johnson and Bobby Slowick will be at the top of the list. Brian Johnson, Eagles offensive coordinator, is another guy, and a lot of Eagles fans don't love him, but it's his first year there, and yeah, he's helped with Jalen Hurts, Kyle Trask, and Dak Prescott. Someone to watch out for. I think he'll probably stay another year as OC and then get a head coaching job. You got Mike McDonald, Ravens DC, And then Jared Mayo, linebacker coach for the Patriots. I'm just not a big fan of Bill Belichick, coaches. Kellen Moore, I'll pass. And yeah, those are kind of the main guys. You got Antonio Pierce. So Bobby Slowick's the top guy. He's 36. So him and Ben Johnson are pretty young, and they've done a really good job with their respective offenses. And but there's some other good candidates as well. And as we get closer to the end of the season, we'll hear more and more rumors with the Commanders. And Frank Smith is another guy, but he doesn't call the plays. But yeah, that's it for today's video. Hope you guys enjoy. If you did, hit that like button, subscribe if you guys are new, and peace.